Stop talking, start doing. Stop talking, start doing.
You're looking to be more creative and innovative?
Hearing the beats.
And one of the keys to unlocking your potential is an entrepreneurial mindset. I like to say permission granted. No one is successful overnight.
Keep on keeping on.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. It's great to have you tune in today, the 5th day of 31 days to PADITU. My name is SEAN GRIFFIN, and you have permission granted for access to whatever you want to create in your life. Well, we are on day 5, and we've had a number of guests and a lot of questions sent to us. Keep those questions coming. You can WhatsApp them to 202, hold on, 642-7089. I don't remember a lot of numbers anymore. I don't know about you. Text those questions to us. Also, if you have a question you would like to, you can post a 30-second video and tag me, SEAN GRIFFIN, and then PADITU, hashtag PADITU, and we will play those video questions on the show. All right. Well, we've had a number of questions around passion, and I want to clarify a little bit on passion this morning. So it's a little different exercise. I'll still visualize it, but I want to be clear about passion. So Amy, if we can move over to the vision board. Passion, when we talk about passion, and when I talk about passion, I'm talking about that thing that motivates you to action. That passion that gets you up out of bed, fires you up, can't stop thinking about it. It does not mean that it's going to be easy. And I want to be clear about this. Life is not supposed to be easy. And I think that too many people think that when they follow their passion, they're going to be happy and they're going to be satisfied and they're going to live in bliss. What's going to happen is when you follow your passion, you're going to transform yourself. You're going to become a better and stronger human being because you're going to push yourself farther. Passion means doing whatever it takes to achieve whatever you want to achieve and going through those hard times to get there. And again, I think life is not supposed to be easy. I'm not sure where this idea about life being easy comes from. And that somehow when you follow your passion, life is going to be all of a sudden fantastic and beautiful. There will be moments because you're following your passion that you're going to have bliss and you're going to feel joy in a way that's rare and powerful. But that's because you're following your passion. But to get to those moments of joy and bliss, then you have to follow your passion and go through a very difficult and challenging process to get there. And I just wanted to make sure we're all clear that following your passion is the right thing to do, will get you where you want to go. And because you're following your passion, it's going to give you the strength to continue and power through those difficult times as you move forward with whatever your dream, fantasy, or desire is. But overall, I want to be clear. Life is not supposed to be easy. And guess what? Those people who have a more challenging life, who go through a lot more transformational experiences, they are stronger and have more capacity to create whatever it is they want in their life. So I encourage you, follow your passion and be ready to go on a journey that will transform your life. Thank you. All right, Amy, who's our first guest today? Monica, good morning. Good afternoon.
Hi.
You. Hi, good to see you.
Good to see you. Happy Tuesday.
Yes, happy Tuesday. Happy 5th of May.
May 5th, absolutely.
How have you been?
I've been great. I've been just great. I'm still in New York.
Okay, great.
So I'm weathering this thing right now. I'm working on a lot of projects, been utilizing a lot of everything that I did with you. Actually, everything that I did with you, I'm layering that on things. So
great.
It's great that you're doing this. So I'm so excited.
You have a question?
Yeah, we have a chance to bump heads. So
let's do it.
So what I'm trying to do at this point, which has always been in my brain and it's on paper as well now, but I'm trying to create an accelerator for beauty and barber pros. strategically beauty pros, because you know that's my crew, my main crew. I stay focused and create products and tools for them. And I've been doing a lot of consulting, and I'm using some of the processes that we use with Lean Startup to get them to launch product services. It's a big product game now in the industry. Actually, right now, it's a boost with people trying to push their products or actually sell different products on sites, on online sites, e-commerce for beauty pros. But I want to create some kind of accelerated program like yours, and also give them these kind of tools, because they don't use this methodology to create products and services, so they lack in money. They don't create these lucrative businesses behind the chair because they don't know these tools. So I've been coaching with Lean Startup and, of course, your practices. So I want to find out how I can kind of package this or get myself out the way to do it, because I know I'm in the way of this, because I want it to be a certain way and now I need to be logical.
Are you doing anything? Well, so my guess is that there's going to be lots of physical space available soon in New York, you know, next year probably, just because of the transition of businesses that's going to take place. So we could be looking at a physical location for you, but I was thinking of an online option.
Yes.
A virtual model that would expand your capacity to be able to attract beauty pros from around the country and potentially around the world. Are you doing anything online right now?
I am doing something online. I have a school that they take courses.
What's it called? What's it called?
It's called New Beauty School.
New Beauty School, okay.
Yeah, that has some online courses. I do some Zoom courses. I was doing this before this started, and I kind of cut back now because everybody was bombarded with Zoom. So I'll start back that a little later. But I was actually doing online coaching, and I get a lot of calls. I do personal coaching with them. So I create courses based on questions, and then I do live little, well, not little, but live segments of a portion of the course, breaking it down more for online questions. So I do that as well.
How many courses have you developed so far? So
far on the platform, there's 6 courses, but it's a goal to have 12. So to have 12 and then move on to something different.
Halfway there.
Halfway there.
Okay. So, I mean, you could technically launch a Beauty Pro Accelerator today online and package it up where you've got your 6 courses for now, more coming every week, every month. You can create a situation where there's access to you, coaching access to you. That could be for product development, beauty product development. What products were you developing, as I recall?
I wasn't developing. I was mentoring on, but my target is environmental products.
Right. So I was going to go there. Perfect. Great. I'm going to, safe, non-animal tested, right? It's going to be a big thing. Particularly millennials are very much on top of this, and good for them. Thank you very much, millennials, for that. And so my thought is the accelerator, and let me draw it over here. I'm going to draw this, okay? So we can see this, right?
Okay.
It's the Beauty Pro Accelerator. What I would do is, Monica, is create a monthly membership model. Monthly, they pay monthly. And with that, they get access to your courses, any pre-recorded type of online activity. You record all your Zooms, so you'd archive those, right? Archives. And then access to you. So all the members would receive like a 1 hour, 2 hour call each week, something like this, which would be you. It would be a group call, wouldn't be individual. And then if they wanted, they could pay extra for individual coaching.
Okay.
You could launch that right now and start marketing and promoting that online. And this would, I believe, be successful. I would focus on how also a little bit post-COVID or COVID-19, just because you can see my hair. There's lots of glue in here holding it together. One day I'll let everyone see my Simon and Garfunkel look. And so how to get haircuts, today. And I don't know, maybe there's people inventing, one of the things I'd be looking for is invention. So as you go, you could start maybe potentially helping and participate in and take some ownership in some new kinds of hairstyle inventions. Because I can see some kind of Edward Scissorhand thing happening where there are mistakes.
And I'm still over there on technology. I'm really involved in emerging technology in the beauty industry. And I'm looking at the new products and tools that are coming. And I'm thinking, since this happened, someone's rushing to do this.
Yeah. There's got to be some new. I was thinking about this too, because I was trying to invent something so I could get a haircut and talk to my guy and say, I need a haircut. And so I spent a little bit of time, keto. But this is what I would start doing, and I would do it now, immediately. Go. There's nothing that will hold you back from this, and you've got everything. You've already got all the content. You've got the know-how. You've got the networks, and then don't limit it to just your New York area. It's a global, but also national. I think I go national. Be strategic in your advertising and promotion online. Join different social media channels if you already are not, and promote. And you got a great personality as well. And so I can only see good things happening. But this is what I would do. This is the direction I would move, and I'd move quickly, because you want to get ahead of the game on this, because I think what's eventually going to happen is that there's going to be a mass migration at some point where they realize I have no choice. Oh, I'm going to do it. I'll go online, instead of proactively saying, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to be a leader in this movement, this change that we're going through.
Got it. Okay.
Not everything fits into an online world. I think some things are a little more challenged, but this in particular is doable, and I think you would do great.
Okay. Yay.
Helpful?
Yes, absolutely.
Great. Monica, let's stay in touch. I want to see your progress, but I would do this right away, and you could start charging, money right now, and you've already got clients, and it would just allow you to do more of what you're doing as it relates to supporting the beauty pro industry.
Got it. Thank you. Yes, thank you. I needed that.
Good, Monica. Good luck. We look forward to following you and keeping up.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. Have a great day.
You too.
Oh, man. All right. That's great. I love it. This is why we do what we do, folks. This is why we launched 31 Days to PADITU. Just sometimes you need a little nudge. Sometimes you just need a little help. Think a little different and apply, new thinking, the changing environment we're in, to direct you and help you support identifying a new way to move forward, and also generate revenue in the process. So, Monica, we wish you the best of luck. Who's our next guest? Amy.
Hi, Sean.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I dig your art in the background.
Yes. Well, as you know, everything has a story.
Of course. I got a clock original behind me.
That's beautiful. I love it. This is a my daughter original.
Oh, I love it. It's even better.
She painted it a little while before we left for Pakistan the first time.
Yeah, so it has true meaning about
Good
it.
message.
How long ago was that, Amy?
2013. Yesterday.
Yeah.
Yesterday. It's fine.
2012 was a transformational year for me. My entire world shifted. And then 2020 was the next big. Here we are.
Here we are. Here it is. Yeah.
So Amy, you're doing some cool stuff. We're on the same page in women empowerment, and you've got tribal women, and you got something called Next going on, and they're in Northwest Arkansas.
Yeah, Northwest Arkansas. Yep.
Northwest. I just want to make sure I was in the
little university town.
I've been here for a while.
That's okay. You've been a few places.
So give us a little information, and you have a question that we can help you with here.
Absolutely, sure. So I think that we were queued up to head to Pakistan again when all of this happened.
You were queuing up.
I was queuing up. Yes. Well, we all go everywhere together from a team standpoint.
Right. Sure.
And then COVID came along, and we've delayed that. Hopefully we'll be able to do that again at some point in time. And
we're going to go remote. We're doing a whole online version now. So
Oh,
the whole
good.
Extreme Build a Business, we've converted everything to an online platform.
Good. Well, I'm in on that too. And so what I was approached with here in Northwest Arkansas was to help small businesses. And there's a task force here in this region that I went back to my paralegal and banking roots. And I'm helping them navigate financing and strategy and how to phase back into business right now. So that's one of the urgent COVID needs that we had in our region. So I joined a little task force team through the Small Business Development Center and regional body. So that has pushed pause for me, but Pakistan was one of the launching mechanisms for my view of women supporting women in the world, and how starting businesses and being stronger and more confident personally and professionally was why I started Tribe of Women. And through the course of Tribe of Women, I realized why women weren't supporting each other more, how we could support each other more. And that culminated into what I hope will be another curriculum, which is very similar to a lot of the things actually you've been talking about here in the virtual space, which is group coaching. So community coaching is what I like to call it. And so Tribe of Women is migrating into an online forum in an online format of women supporting women. I would call it Next is a catalyst community for women, because I do believe that when women support each other, we go further faster. And so I'm looking at it as originally it was getting together in groups of 10 or 15 and creating cohorts and supporting each other through my coaching methodology and facilitation. But really teaching women how to support each other, not just me coming in and saying, here, I'm your coach with all of the answers, but asking good questions to help people find their own answers, which is my methodology in general with businesses and personally. So now we're switching that to the online idea. And I believe that there are different, because of financial restrictions, I think that there will always be something that that should be given away, that exactly what you're doing here, conversations to be had, people to highlight, ways to bring people together without restriction. And then I think that there are some other levels, if you want to be part of a specific group. Yeah.
How are you including men? One of the challenges I have with female empowerment, women empowerment around the world, is that it's women helping women, and that's leaving out less than half of the population. And people who can really influence the ability to, and we run programs which empower men to, as a supporters and champions of women. And I'm just wondering how's that working? Because I haven't found you can change the reality if it's just women helping women. You've got to have men. And then I'll say this: it can't go so extreme that you've got a panel of 5 men, no women, talking about how you're going to empower women. So that's the other extreme that I think it's not viable. But what's the strategy for men engagement in terms of women empowerment?
So Tribe of Women, the mission of Tribe of Women is building cultures of women supporting women and more good men. And I think that part of that is when women come together and are talking about and addressing what it is that they are challenged with, and the perspective that they're coming from, and being reinforced in that way. I think that there's not an either or, there's not a versus. Honestly, I think men should get together and talk about what it is that they are challenged with. There are a lot of organizations like I'm trying to think of the Man Box that Tony, his name is Tony. I'll get it eventually. But the More Good Men movement, I think, is huge as well. And so I don't think it's an either or kind of situation. I think that
what are you doing though? What are you going to do to bring men into this fold as you work with women? You came up with an idea right there just now.
About working with Tony?
Did you hear it? No, not Tony. Before Tony.
before Tony, More Good Men?
You came up, no, before More Good Men, you came up with an idea that I think has some real validity.
About working
shared it just now.
men sharing their challenges as well and coming together.
Well, yeah. So, I'm more committed to this, getting men to be champions of women. If we don't, we're not going to get more women in leadership position. And if you look at the world right now, there's 3 countries that are doing really well under the current challenges we face, and all 3 of those are led by women. I'm not pointing to the 3, led by women and countries. And so, I think there's an opportunity here because we need more women leaders. And I've been saying it for years, that we've been together, and just what I do.
Yeah.
But within that, I'm always like, I show up to events, so I'm the only man. I got 250 women in these events, and I'm the only man there. We're not moving a needle. The needle is not moving. It's stuck because all the women are just together. And so I'm challenging this a little bit, because you have an opportunity now to really do something much bigger and broader and global. Men are a critical component to the success of this. And so somehow what you said was creating these groups where men can also engage, but in those, maybe there's a facilitated, focused discussion that relates to how can they support their women at their home to be more, to reach their full potential, to, have a career, to balance the responsibilities of home. We had Mansour on yesterday, and he was talking about supporting. You see, Mark? Did you? What you?
I did. I watched.
And I was challenging him. Let's not focus on the stereotypical roles of women. Like,
absolutely,
2 things. How to run a business, a consulting firm. Teach them how to make websites, and then teach them how to get on Fiverr and start promoting themselves. That's clear and viable now today, but it also takes it out of that stereotypical role, which people have a hard time moving from. So men. Some kind of men strategy in here would be very, I think, huge. Could be a real PADITU.
There's a great organization called Catalyst. They're in New York, and they do a lot of research on how to get more women into Fortune 500 companies and board positions and some of those things. And one of their initiatives is how to engage men, is what their kind of what their presentation is. And as part of Tribe of Women, More Good Men being part of the initiative, I think one of the things that was interesting to me is when I started talking about Tribe of Women and women supporting women, I thought I was preaching to the choir, and it was common sense. Of course, women supporting women is going to be helpful. Listening to each other, supporting each other, championing each other. Interestingly enough, the people that came to me the most and said, please do this, we need more of this in the world, were men. Because they were affected by women not supporting each other in the workplace and in their homes and in the world, and they saw that when women did come together, that they were stronger, they were more confident, they were more self-assured, and went farther faster, and they felt the results of that, and so they were asking for that just as much as women were. And then the other group that was really asking for it were young women, because they wanted something to work toward and live up to and move into a world where that was the reality that they could look forward to in home and in the workplace and in their relationships.
Time out, Amy. Time out. So great research. We got it too. We got the same research. Our work in Pakistan. I know we had a question. Somebody asked a question about work in Pakistan. We create Pakistan is where you want to go if you're in Pakistan. It's in Islamabad, Sector 4, I think. So what can you do, with your program? Forget about talking about all these other research. You got the knowledge. You understand. What can you do?
Well, I think
with your website that you're working on, your Tribal Women group, community coaching, and what can you do for men to help men get more on board? Because this is the missing link right now. Because I just see
one of the things, the reason that it's called Next, NEXXT, is because that was the question: what's next? Everyone's looking for what's next for women, and I think that incorporating what's next.
What is next
in general? Yeah.
What is next? What is it?
What is next for men or women, I think, is more equity and equality and a little bit more balance in what we are doing. And I think that, you know, there are imbalances everywhere. So I definitely think
what do you do?
I definitely think that a forum would be a great idea for men to come and learn what it is that, you know, what women are learning about each other, and learning more what they need. And talking a little bit more about some of the things, because, you know, men are struggling too. They have a man box that they live in, about emotions, about
what box, Amy? I don't know.
I know what box. Yes, I remember that from yesterday too. And just the cultural stigmas that they are living under as well. So having an opportunity for them to talk to each other about that would be great and understand a little bit.
What would be the incentive? What's the incentive for them to do that? What's their incentive? Because people, general, forget it, universally, what's their incentive to get part of this too?
I would say, again, I think that they are directly affected. So a lot of leaders
may not be fully aware, though.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of leaders.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. Maybe not. But I do think that, you know, I did have a client come and say, you know, I think we need to start a group for women leaders. And I said, okay, well, why do you think that? And then as he started talking, it was much more about how they are working together that he wanted and needed to address, how to communicate, how to be sensitive, how to incorporate all of the restrictions of, you know, corporate life and really be inclusive of women, but also he was really talking about how to work together as a team. So to your point, starting a women's leadership group was not the solution to that. It was more of coming together as a team, and identifying men versus women was not the solution either. It was coming together as a team and talking to each other as people. You know, ultimately, I think tribe of human is the goal.
Yeah. So time for a second. Okay, we got some comments. I don't know if you saw them flowing.
Oh, I can't see them. No.
There's one from Joffrey, and this is a good one. And I think that what's important here, Amy, is that we're moving away. So our We Create centers are going to move away from women focused to all-inclusive, hyper-inclusive, and everywhere we've done a lot of ecosystem design and development work now more recently, and also systems change work within different countries, mostly Africa right now. And when we do that, women don't want women only, men don't want women only. And so there's now a situation where it's shifted, like it was women focused, and it's now moved away from that. And there's a more inclusive approach with a focus on women or an injection of intentionality behind women. But I think that as you go forward, and what's next in my mind is that it's hyper inclusiveness. That's what's next.
I definitely agree with that. And I think that Tribe of Women was needed when Tribe of Women began. That was 2013, 2014. And now the awareness of women supporting women and the action behind that has happened. And so that is the evolution, and why we are moving on to what's next.
I don't know if it's evolution. I think it's been uncomfortable.
It was needed when it was needed.
There was some kind of uncomfortableness that people feel when it was not inclusive, which is, I think, a positive thing. But I do want to, I just want to let you know that's where it's going, and that's it's been going for a while, and you know, it's where I always say, let's go where the hockey puck's going, and we're rebranding, we're coming up with new logos for We Create, and we're going to go with all inclusive strategy now with our We Creates, and what we're seeing already is they've already started shifting and changing in terms of how they're engaging the community, and what's happening is phenomenal results and a much more happy place, which has been really, really nice. Because at first we thought we had to create these safe environments, protect, you know, women, not from security issues, but just from the outside environment, for these safe places to come together, to work, to create, to build their business, design, all those things that we do. And
I think your point of
it's just. And
I think your point of
information that I think would be valuable for what you're doing, because when you say next, that's what's next. Hyper inclusivity.
And I think that it's absolutely to your point. We Create needed to be We Create at that point in time. It did need to focus on women. It needed to say, we're here for you, and this is what we, this is what you can do. And so then it is an evolution. I completely agree.
Yeah, well, I love it. I think we're doing great. And I appreciate this conversation, and we look forward to seeing what is next and how that evolves, because I think you have a really tremendous opportunity. Your heart's in the right place, and well, it's just a joy to see you as well. And say hello to the family, and we'll talk again soon, Amy. And let's stay in touch. Good luck with this next project. Fantastic.
I'll keep you up to date.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, women empowerment, one of my great passions in terms of supporting women to reach their full potential and helping them overcome whatever challenges they may face. Within that context, there is so many things associated with that, but for sure, working with well over 25,000 women business builders now around the world, I can tell you that it's more of an inclusive approach that we're looking for, and men are a critical component to be champions of women, or we will not move the needle for supporting women and seeing them reach new levels of leadership, which I would defend and continue to promote is something we need more of. Sometimes women are born leaders, and we need more women leaders. Okay, Amy, who's next? Steve.
Hello.
I heard you might be here.
Yes.
Ta-da!
I enjoyed seeing that familiar face back there.
Yeah, that is what greets me as I walk through the front door. Well, when I used to walk through the front door more than I do now, that was what would greet me, and every day. So I brought it up and said, I heard Steve Cluck's going to be here. How are you doing, Steve?
I'm great. I'm enjoying the day here in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yeah. Great. And I see that you're like me. It's been a while since we've had a haircut.
Yeah.
I'm liking that look, though, Steve. It's looking very good.
Yeah, just getting creative with it. It's like a little sculpture I can work on every morning.
Mine, too. I'm telling you, there's glue in here. I've been following what you're doing with the Don't Hate the 918, and you've got a new shirt out. And what are you working on these days?
Well, lately, the newest thing has been Isolate the 918.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of a play off of the old Don't Hate the 918. And just kind of, I wanted to sort of celebrate all the creativity that I'm seeing. Like, I'm loving all my artist friends who are writing plays and painting and making dance choreography. There's creative endeavors that are being pursued during this quarantine time. And it's been really exciting to see. I think the arts are going to really flourish once we can get back out and, share our works with everyone. So that's just exciting to see. And I thought, Isolate the 918 kind of commemorates that time.
Right. And how are sales of those? Are people embracing that?
I've sold a few. Like, it's not Don't Hate the 918 or I Heart Tulsa. Right. But it's just something fun to do.
Yeah. What kind of challenges are you facing now? I mean, you're working in jewelry too, right? And designing jewelry. And what kind of challenges are you facing right now?
Yeah, that's been a lot of fun. Spexton Fine Jewelry. We design custom pieces. We do repair. We're diamond experts. So we really focus a lot on engagement rings and wedding bands. So it's just a fun environment to be around. You've got happy couples who are in love, who are getting married, and just being a part of their story is just really exciting. Yeah. So I really enjoy that.
Yeah, but what like there must be some kind of, you have a question or you have a challenge you're facing right now that we can overcome? We can work on it.
I was thinking about the theme being passion and, me being an artist and like how I think it's so important to stay inspired. It's so easy to have an idea every morning or, come up with something that's exciting at first. But I think for something to really succeed, it has to have that process. It has to be, it's like a flower that has to be watered every day. And to stay excited and inspired about a project or, your business idea or whatever it may be, I think that's something that, you know, maybe I wanted to hear your thoughts on.
Great. That's a good one, Steve, because that, you know, what I say, there's like three things that are critical for any entrepreneur, business builder to be successful. Anybody, I think, generally speaking, and that is you have to follow your passion, because your passion is the one thing that'll get you through that hard part, those difficult times, and you know what I'm talking about. Second thing is persistence, right? This is what you're getting to, persistence. And how do you stay persistent? Because if you look at the people who are truly successful, well, or I should say, I know more business builders and entrepreneurs who almost made it and quit just before they were about to make it. Now, we'll never know if they would have or wouldn't have, but they gave up, they quit. And they lack that ability to keep that persistence going. And persistence is really what you're talking about here. And there's a third element that I want to add, and that's consistency. Passion, persistence, and consistency. So you have to remain consistent in what you're doing. And if you're not consistent, then your brand gets tarnished, and you know, it's not good. And so consistency is the third element of those three ingredients. But persistence can be particularly hard, right? Difficult. And so here's a couple ways that I do this to stay on it. I, like we're doing here right now, I force myself into situations where I have to keep doing it. Like I have to wait. I'm now waking up every morning and every day. We're talking about this show and inviting people and getting people and you know, just a lot to do. It's a forced situation that I did to get this, because if we would have done it like once a week, it wouldn't have had the same change effect, right? I wouldn't keep doing it. It would be, I might not be persistent. I might say, let's not do that. You know, I got plans that day. So force myself into a schedule. This schedule that I'm forcing myself into is one that I have to show up to. Like I have no choice. So it's a have to. What this is doing, I have to do it. What this is doing is it's creating like a new groove, and I'm trying to make that groove as deep as possible so it becomes a consistent pattern. Because then so I'm basically reprogramming, I'm rebooting my brain in this process. I think I'm learning how I'm going to come out with some stuff about how to reboot your brain. I think I've been doing it a long time. I'm trying to understand it, but this is part of it, what I'm sharing with you right now, latest thinking. And so what this does is this reprograms my brain. And what it does is it then allows me to strengthen that muscle that strengthens my ability to stay on it, to stay inspired. Now, hold on. There's a caveat here, Steve, and I'm going to tell you a little story. 2 years ago, I was in Istanbul, Turkey, and I had an anxiety attack in a cab on the way to the airport. I was traveling extensively. It's for a number of years. I was 330 days plus a year on the road traveling around the world. And it caught up to me, and my inspiration had gone, Steve. It was gone. I lost it. I went into a mild depression. I wanted to quit what I was doing. I was done. I was basically very unhappy, and I worked too hard. I hadn't watched the signs along the way. So I had been inspired and consistent and persistent and, done miracles. There were miracles. Little miracles were happening in a lot of places. And so if what you're doing is, you got to take care of yourself as well, because what can happen is, and I found this over and over again, is if my passion can consume me to the point where I don't want to do that anymore, and it's not a passion, right? It loses its strength. And so there are times where you need to step away from something, and it's a natural progress, and you have to listen to your mind and listen to your body and your heart and say, okay, maybe it's time for a change, especially if you're doing something over and over again. It's like a broken record or a one-hit wonder, right? Which is a lot of what I was doing. Repetitive type of activities. And so there is a need to shift and change. This kind of shift that I'm doing right now has opened the door to such levels of creativity, inspiration that it's just like, it's overwhelming at this point, because there's so many ideas floating around, which is fantastic. But then again, you have to prioritize what to work on. So staying inspired is not easy, but you have to take care of yourself, and you always have to be kind of making things new, particularly when they get repetitive. And so as artists and creatives and people who are looking for new, exciting things to do, we have to shift it up. And what I've always loved about you is that you reinvent yourself, right? You're willing to do that. And so there's got to be a reinvention that allows you to stay inspired as well. I'll pause. Those are my comments and my first thoughts.
Yeah, I think that's great. Like, yeah, I enjoyed hearing your take on that, because I think that's something that's so important is, slow and steady wins the race, and just really cultivating the creations that people have made. And that applies to business. I think that's like having that, that process versus just a big idea once and then just let it die or whatever, but having good ideas, but then solidly, cultivating and building on them. And, that's when you really start seeing those passions flourish.
Look, here's a statistic. Something like 68% of the American population, and I would say that it's probably global, desire, fantasize, think about, dream about starting or running their own business.
Mm-hmm.
But yet it's declining. So in the US, people starting businesses is actually going down. Think about that, because think about all the money every city's putting into promoting entrepreneurship. Everybody's got an accelerator, some kind of something. Tulsa's got, lots of different mechanisms to support entrepreneurs. At one point, my mission was to see Tulsa reach its full potential. And so I think that, that you've got to really go back to being focused on your passion. You got to then determine that is what you want to go forward with. And then, I go back to the 68%. So few people are actually taking action. And so people all have an idea. They have a fantasy.
Yeah.
They're entrepreneurs. They want to be an entrepreneur. They fantasize about it, but yet they keep talking about it. They keep planning on it. They keep dreaming about it. They don't take those actions. Amy, how are you doing?
Good. I wanted to ask, since you have Steve and the two of you are incredible creatives, we had a question pop up, and I thought it would be good dialogue if the two of you could help.
Totally.
The person asks, how do I, as a freelance artist, tap into my business mind? It seems easy to create art, but difficult to monetize it. And do I need to hire an agent?
I'm going to let Steve go on this one. Steve, you're going to respond to that one, then I'll go, because that's you, man. You tell me.
Yeah.
You've been here. You've done this. You're for years.
Well, it's funny. One of the things that helped me was being involved with other artists. Like I was a volunteer for the Oklahoma Visual Arts Coalition, and being on those committees and seeing clearly, like, oh, this is what that artist could do to really advance them. Or like someone would ask me to help them write their artist statement. And I could see their work, really clearly and be like, oh, well, here's what's marketable about that, or here's how you should price that artwork. But then to do it for yourself seems to be the huge challenge, because that art is so personal. It's hard to see that clearly. It's hard to be objective about your own art. So what I found did work for me was just doing it as a, regularity with, for other artists. And then saying, okay, well, if that goes for all these other people, maybe this goes for me too. And if I just apply it towards my own stuff, then that, so it's almost like literally wearing a different hat. Like it's hard to do. It's hard to separate your work from yourself, to be able to see it clearly from like a branding or marketing or business perspective. But what I found helped me was, just doing it for so many other people for enough time that I got comfortable and familiar with it, where it was just kind of easier to do it for myself.
This is great. This is great, Steve. I mean, I think that this is what this is what I see with artists as well. They're artists, and
mm-hmm.
we brought this up, I think, the first day, and he wrote the song Donka Shane and sang that. What's his name? The artist, the musician. Anyway, Wayne Newton. Wayne Newton went broke, right? He was doing live performances in Vegas. He was, making tons of money and at the top of his game. And he spent all of his money. He was the entertainer. He forgot the entertainment business side of it. He forgot the business side of it. And I think artists have a similar challenge in this, which he would be an artist around the world. And that is they're really focused on their art. And that's what's more important. And then somehow in their minds, money can be evil or bad or something, or I'm a sellout if I get paid for this kind of cash for my piece of art. And I mean, as you can imagine, I've collected a lot of art from around the world. Everywhere I go, can't help it.
Yeah.
And I'm always paying them more. I'm like, here, this is not worth it. This is worth this. And I'm willing to pay. You're like, no. I'm like, yes. I insist. And so artists, and for this question, what I would propose is you need an affirmation about money. And we had a question we got a request from somebody before, more affirmations on money. And this is the affirmation I use as well, because I can get into that artist space as well. Like, nah, this is pure, man. And therefore, let's not mess it up with money, because then it won't be the same. The purity will be gone in my mind, historically, no more. And that is, money is good, money is pure, money is helpful, and gets me to where I want to go and achieve the things that I want to achieve. I deserve a lot of money, right? That's an affirmation right there that artists and whoever asked that question can use. And you want to say that, and again, you're reprogramming your brain here, but money is good, money is pure, money helps me get what I want to achieve in my life. I deserve a lot of money. And so I try to give that mantra out to artists to help them and reinforce the fact that money is good and money helps them do more art.
Exactly.
Money helps them get more materials, bigger art, better art, more experimentation with art, giant, mobiles like Calder, whatever it may be. That takes money. And so with artists, I really focus in on that. And that's a great question. I'm really glad you brought that up, Amy. So Steve, do you have a challenge right now? Anything you want to see if we can overcome?
I really think that what we talked about with the persistence.
Yeah, we got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Steve, it's so good to see you. Thanks for being part of my life every day through art. And are you doing more art now? Or
I am actually. I don't know if I can scroll over. You can kind of see the stacks of
up here too.
Canvas going on over here. So yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. A lot of fun.
So with your isolation there, you're doing art.
Definitely.
That's great. I'm glad to hear it. Are you putting those online for sale or anything?
They will be. I'm actually trying to build an entire show. So
plug it. Where do they go to buy the art, Steve?
Yeah.
Where? Give us a plug.
I'm not sure. Like, I'm gonna just plan a whole show and have an exhibition somewhere. Like
put it online, man. Put it online. And you have a Steve Cluck? What's your email?
So I encourage everyone to follow me on Instagram at Steve Cluck, and then on Facebook also at Steve Cluck.
Beautiful. Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, good to see you.
See you again soon, sometime in Tulsa.
All right, looking forward to it.
Thank you. Yeah, that was really, really good question Steve brought up, and that is, what it's not just passion, it's that how do I keep going? How do I stay inspired? And I believe strongly the world works in cycles. Your life works in cycles. And if you were to track your life, no matter what age you are, you would see that there's a cycle to it, and that things change over time. And I found it's between 7 to 10 years, a cycle, and there's a shift and a change that occurs. Like I said, 2012, 2020, that's my cycle. And that cycle is now changed. I'm in a whole new cycle. And what I've done in the past is I'm thick-skulled, and I bang my head against the wall thinking, no, that's not how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be this way. When the universe and when all signs are in front of me telling me, no, this is the way you need to go. And so as I've gotten older, I've learned to follow those signs a little more clearly and to listen to them and instinctively follow them, particularly when it aligns with a passion or purpose that you may have. So within your life and your cycles, you want to be really more aware of how those are going, and not be afraid of them, embrace them, and then move forward in a way that takes you where you want to go. And that's really good universal wisdom right there. And I'm telling you what, it's hard. It's hard work. And it doesn't get easier. Life is like a video game. Yeah, every time you get to a new level, it gets a little harder. You just got your first job. It just got harder. You just got promoted. It just got harder. You just bought a house. It just got harder. You just had a kid. It just got harder. And so if you look at life as a video game, you'll realize that it's not supposed to be easy, and that it just gets harder each time you go up a new level. And that's good, because it's stretching you. You're growing, you're changing, and you're evolving as a human, hopefully. And in the process, I would hope that you're also looking at how you can put a dent in the universe and create a positive experience for people around you. Amy, do we have another question?
I do. I have a couple of things, but while we're here, and I have so many family and friends who are also artists, and I would like to ask you, when you were first beginning to conceptualize how you would, be a graphic illustrator, graphic facilitator, how did you break into that? I know that's a challenge. When you said, I want to draw while you talk, I'm sure they looked at you like, are you kidding? Like, do you know the speed of a meeting? And you're like, I got this. That had to have been like a massive hurdle. And I think, how did that work for you? Because I'm interested to know that. And I think it would relate to this topic. And I think it would expand just a little bit to other people who might be thinking, there's a huge obstacle here between I'm an artist and I've got something I want to do, and process art or graphic facilitation is, that's something that didn't exist. You're like one of the very, very few who could do it. So explain a little bit about that, because I think that could help a lot of people.
Okay, that's great. Thanks, Amy. I think that, okay, so I think what I'm trying to process is, how did I get into this? Okay, I grew up in San Jose, California, the epicenter of Silicon Valley. And I just happened to be born and raised with an entrepreneurial family in the epicenter of entrepreneurship, as we know it today, Silicon Valley. So that's number one. I was in the right environment. So I didn't really have any control that I'm aware of to choose that environment. But that environment was critical to my getting into graphic facilitation. The second thing is, I constantly am exploring and putting myself into environments and situations that are uncomfortable. I got involved in, this is 1992, I was campaigning for Ross Perot, and that's where I learned about town halls. And I started doing town halls up and down the West Coast, in California, Oregon, Washington, with Ross Perot. And that introduced me to town halls. And then after Ross Perot dropped out, I was just exploring other people doing different work, and found a group in Menlo Park called the Fifth Medium. And that's where I met Gordon Rudo and Chris Bowie. And they had started a organized nonprofit called the Fifth Medium IC. And Gordon is a phenomenal artist. And so we started creating murals, but more importantly, we started doing works after the LA riots with gangs, the Crips and the Bloods, doing common ground development work. And that's where my father's an architect, so I had really good printing, because my dad had me printing really well. Thank you, Dad, for that. And it was a natural. So I was copying down, I was writing on large walls, outcomes and results of these common ground building exercises in large group, extraordinary stuff. Funded by an Italian princess. It's an incredible story. What happened is, a gang member came up to me and said, "Yo, dude, you're too stiff up here. You need to loosen up." Just like that. I'll never forget it for the rest of my life. I'm like, "What do you mean I'm too stiff? I'm not too stiff. What are you talking about?" And of course, I'm super stiff. And so he started showing me on a wall, here, man, here's how you do it. And he was, he was a graffiti artist is what he was. And it loosened me up. It made me loosen up. We had fun together. And then Gordon and I started experimenting. And there was a gentleman by the name of David Sibbett, who's the father of graphic facilitation, who'd come up with a book. And so we started practicing and grew a, we were one of, I think there were 12 graphic facilitators at the time, started doing it professionally as consultants and generating some money. And when we left the Fifth Medium IC, and that's how it started for me. I'll tell you one last piece to this. It wasn't easy. I'm dyslexic, and so spelling errors happen. And so I had a very important graphic facilitation assignment with the Hewlett-Packard Foundation sometime in the mid 90s, early 90s. And it was all doctors, and it was a strategy session and their annual, retreat. And every time I'd misspell a word, which was extraordinarily difficult, complex words, I would misspell words, and they pointed it out. And I literally was in a situation where when they took a break, I went to the bathroom and I started crying. And I thought to myself, is this really what you want to do? Is this really for you? What are you doing? And it was heartbreaking. And I went back and I finished that program. It was a total failure. So the first pancake is freaking lumpy as hell. And that's an example of that. And then I never gave up. I keep doing it. And now, I would argue one of the best graphic facilitators in the world in terms of strategy, team alignment, systems change, organizational change, development, team accelerations, program development, product development, name it. But to get there, it's 20 plus years ago, 20 plus years of experience of doing that. And so that comes back to the persistence and consistency. And if there's one consistent thing in my life, it would have to be the visualization of information and complex ideas and use it to inspire new thinking and boost the creative IQ. And so does that help? Was that good? Or
that helps? That helps a lot. I think that's very beneficial.
I was trying to weave it so it's like lessons in there as well. But so
no, I appreciate it.
It's not easy. Like, it's not easy, and I've trained people to do it. I've got somebody in Zambia, Nambula Pachimi. She can probably graphically facilitate better than I can now, and if you have a capacity, anybody out there, if you have a capacity to draw, and you really want to get into something that will change your life and take you far, look into graphic recording, graphic facilitation. It is a way to go. It's grown into a very large industry. I'm proud to say I was a founding board member of the International Forum of Visual Practitioners long ago, and it's grown tremendously since those early days. And it's definitely something that differentiates you, creates more value, and something that more people need in the world, and that is to see what they really mean.
Right. I've loved during this time of social distancing, and one thing I found very, very positive during this time of safer at home or whatever you're under it, wherever you are, is that there's accessibility to art that wasn't accessible before. A lot of virtual tours of museums and things, and it's just proof that music and art and artistic expression is life, right?
Alive and well.
Life, right? Visuals or beauty, anything like that, and it keeps you going during times like this. And I think that bears out over the time of all history, right? That bears out beauty and his art is important, and the expression of art. So if you're an artist, we need you. We need your special brand of amazing, awesome, and I have people that I love a lot that are incredible artists and people I respect. And
art touches your soul, and art moves you. It can move you. It can move you emotionally, and that's the power, I think, of art. And when I draw and do this live in real time, not knowing what people are going to say, there's something I believe that touches them in their ancient part, and that it connects with them going way back, and they don't understand what's happening, but it's connecting to something that's very familiar. but unfamiliar and very natural to embrace. And I would argue that we have artists, producing content on Facebook and TikTok and Instagram that is really kind of a new kind of art. And so art is always evolving and changing. I know at some point we're going to have Joe Lambert on here, the father of digital storytelling. And, his partner back in the early days was Dana Atchley. And he used to go around and do these digital fireside chats and have a fake fireplace and then these big screens and tell stories and show movies that were firsthand movies. That's digital freaking amazing art. And so there's no limitation to what art can be today. And if you're home today, which most people probably are, then this is a really good time to start expressing your creativity, whatever that may be, and tapping that part of yourself that maybe has been dormant, growing cobwebs on it. Dust those cobwebs off and get that paintbrush out or glue gun, whatever it is for you, and start getting creative. That's how we'll close it out today. So we'll be back tomorrow. Oh, before we do that, hold on one second. Day 5. Check. We'll be back tomorrow, same PADITU time, same PADITU place. Thank you for being here, everybody.
You got to never, ever give up. Keep it up, keep it up. Never, ever give up. Keep it up, keep it up. Never, ever give up. Keep it up, keep it up. Never, ever give up.
Believe in yourself and you'll go far.